Bienvenue sur le canal Invertone.
Welcome to the Invertone channel. My name is René Garazegu. I am a sound engineer and author of the Sonoquantique that I have been developing for about 30 years now. So we will talk about this quantum sonology, sono for sound, quantum for vibration, and Invertone for the inversion of sound and vibration. Its purpose is unique, to open a new window of observation and radically different understanding of the world around us. As the realities always begin with dreams since man exists, the purpose of the Sonoquantique is no exception. After having acquired all the same its first letters of nobility in the medical scientific community. To properly set the scene, the human being is made up and surrounded by microcosmic or macrocosmic elements. Whether it is particles, photons, plants, minerals, animals, people, or stars. He has given names to everything that exists to facilitate communication and understanding with others. He also defined the characteristics and properties of everything he named. So whatever language is used, it defines the same things. Whether it's an object called table in French or in English, Tisch in German or Mesa in Spanish. Whether it's for a molecule, it's the same, a physical property. An emotion or any other description, different words define the characteristics of the same object, the same concept. And that's where the problems begin, and let's see why. For the same word, there are actually two meanings. The first is the linguistic meaning given by the dictionary and addressed to our brain, which ultimately knows only what it has learned. This mental understanding is slow because the brain must first gather all its knowledge on the subject to make an opinion and be able to react. The second meaning of the same word is vibratory and is addressed to DNA, whose electrosensitive characteristics allow it to take everything that has been given to it, such as a camera that captures the sound and image of what it perceives, objects, chemistry, sensations, emotions, behavior, movement, time, distance, etc. Everything that lives inside and outside the human being can be considered as a set of stimuli whose sound and colorimetric information is recorded by DNA, because they are of a frequency nature and are immediately transmitted to the psychoneuroendocrine system. Thus, DNA can react to various types of information, chemical, biological, psycho-emotional, sensory, electromagnetic, everything that the senses can pick up, but also to anything that falls within the realm of the intangible such as intuition, dreams, the influence of the moon, etc. Whether the perceived information is tangible or intangible, it instantly elicits accurate and unfiltered sensory responses, pleasant or unpleasant sensations, or even neutral. It is important to know that at the moment when this emotional information is perceived, the brain is still silent, unable to react with such speed. In view of this situation, I would say, which can give us a feeling of impotence, it seemed important to me to find a way to deactivate these unpleasant sensations, without obviously touching the pleasant sensations, or necessarily dismissing the neutral sensations. All this is the subject of the quantum sonology. The first question now is whether a single word, information or stimulus has the same effect on one person or another. Of course, this is not the case at all. Some may be offended by a word perceived as disrespectful, while others will see no harm in it. And this leads us to other questions, according to which criterion do the same emotion, the same chemical property, the same situation, the same word have different repercussions depending on the person? What makes this difference? What causes a person to experience an unpleasant sensation at one point and then, years later, it turns into a neutral or even pleasant sensation? In response to these fundamental questions, the school hypothesis that inspired me was to consider that the names and surnames that humans bear characterize the relationships they have with their fellow beings, but also with the animal kingdom, plant, mineral, or the universe around them. Indeed, man tends to name all the manifestations of creation as soon as he becomes aware of them. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh. In other words, to materialize a relationship with someone or something, it is necessary that this person or something has a name, or otherwise, it will be necessary to give him one. It is therefore the relationship from one person to another that will determine the relational characteristics between the individual and everything around him, whether he is aware of it or not. Given the diversity of descriptions according to languages and the diversity of names and surnames that individuals bear, the relationship to the surrounding world will be quite different from one person to another. Have you noticed that the level of knowledge has evolved in step with the evolution of the descriptive richness of writing? It is in this unique relational aspect of the name that lies the key that opens all doors. It is the name that weaves the relations between all the relations of creation, from a single point of view which is valid, that of each individual. So everyone has their own universe. The name directs our relational links. It is therefore a matter of vibratory compatibility between the names and surnames of the human being, with the name of the things and beings that surround him. The quantum sonology determines these criteria with remarkable precision, because it relies on identical morphological characteristics of human beings to express their words. The vocal cords react to the pressure of air coming from the lungs. The oral cavity widens and shrinks to emit different vowels, and the tongue changes position in order to vary the sound of the consonants. It is also important to know that the vibrations emitted by the same words, whether spoken or read, understood or misunderstood, have an immediate impact on DNA. Thus, for example, Pierre or Noémie are insensitive and incompatible to such a pathogenic bacteria named X, while Jean or Arnaud are compatible and will be carried away by the disease. All Marys have an aspect of their personality that reacts emotionally to a stimulus of the same nature, while Jean reacts differently or not at all in the presence of the same stimuli. All these situations relate to the naming of persons in relation to the naming of elements and events that concern or surround them. Thus, a word said in French and its translation said in Chinese has a different linguistic and mental impact. On the other hand, the pronunciation of a word in any language will have the same emotional impact. For a Chinese or a French, a Russian or an American. These differences between linguistic meaning and vibratory meaning are, when we think about it, the basis of all human confrontations, whether family, generational, religious, social, political, civilization, and even individual, because the thought is built with words in the head of each. In short, all relationships with the surrounding world depend for each individual on the names and surnames they bear. Whether they have been chosen in advance or not, they are present and active. You guessed it, the purpose of the quantum sonology is therefore to try to provide an answer to this dilemma, to this dichotomy between mental sensation and vibratory sensation, which is one of the main causes of all suffering, diseases, wars, since the dawn of time. That's it, and before quietly expressing this concept in front of a camera, I spent 33 years studying this hypothesis, including 20 years putting it into practice and especially validating it on the medical scientific level. What was an assumption has become a tangible reality through the scientific filter, which is, Whether you like it or not, a great way to advance an idea and root it in the tangible reality in a repetitive, non-random way. Well, I hope that this new window of reading human existence has enriched you. Having lived it in my flesh for many years at least, it still seems to me dizzying that the relations among human beings and with the universe are characterized by the names they receive, carry, or give. Then I understand better why it is said, "In the beginning was the Verb, and that the Verb became flesh." Thank you for listening, and see you soon for more information.